Hey everyone, it's with Cuddly, Kitwana. It was one of the most famous, if not the most famous movie scene of all times. The Tyrannosaurus Rex breaking out of its habitat, ripping through the power cables, overturning two tour vehicles and causing a lot of mayhem in the 1993 blockbuster Jurassic Park. But did you know there were hardly any toys celebrating that iconic moment? It wasn't until last year, actually, where we got this from Mattel, the Tyrannosaurus Rex escape pack that has the dinosaur and the Ford Explorer tour vehicle. We actually looked at this in episode number 114, about half a year back. And what we are going to look at today comes in this big box and was released in 2017. So also quite a while from the movie's initial release. Now, if you're a Jurassic Park fan, then you are of course familiar with the name Chronicle Collectibles. That's actually not the only collectible I have from them. You may remember episode number 72, where I featured the fantastic 1/5 scale Tyrannosaurus Rex Maquette, which is the most valuable, biggest, largest Jurassic Park collectible on the market ever. Unfortunately, Chronicle Collectibles has gone out of business since then, and that makes these statues even more valuable, as there won't be any of them ever from them. The alternatives being Prime 1 Studios and Sideshow, if you are into these type of Jurassic Park collectibles, you have to stick with them. The box alone is already a highlight, and that's why I saved it. It not only has the Jurassic Park logo centered in the front, what's this also showing is one of the overturned Ford Explorer vehicles. In the rain, if you look closely, see Jurassic Park writing being upside down. And here on this side we have a description, of course. Dinosaurs and man, two species separated by 65 million years of evolution, have suddenly been thrown back into the mix together. How can we have the slightest idea of what to expect? Well, I'll show you what to expect in the form of this must-have collectible for every Jurassic Park fan, but let's continue to look at the box, since the other side of the box is also very nicely designed with a lot of attention to detail. We have the T-Rex that just broke out roaring at the Explorer vehicle number 4, just like it was on the movie, already overturned with its wheels up in the air. And on the side here is nothing too special, but what is special is the engine logo on top, right here. This is a fantastic box. It's very well worth to keep, as you may want to keep the boxes of all fragile collectibles in your collection. Always keep the boxes in case you are moving eventually. This statue requires a bit of assembly, and of course I already did that, but for the purpose of this video we are still going to look at the individual parts again. First we start with the base, and the Jurassic Park fans among you will already recognize this being the shape of Isla Nublar. Fantastic detail, and you can see a bronze Jurassic Park logo along with the tracks of the T-Rex, the foot tracks of the T-Rex, left and right foot, fantastically molded. And we also have the power tracks that guide the tour vehicles across the park. And you can even see the tire marks being left behind from the Explorer. The bottom of the base has the Chronicle Collectibles and Jurassic Park logos, as well as the numbering, since this is a limited edition of 1,000 pieces ever made, minus number 270, as you can see. And what I also had to assemble was the high voltage fence. I had to put this into the concrete base and then thread the individual power cables through the loops, and finally bend them one by one so that they eventually look exactly like in the movie, where gravity is doing its top after the T-Rex has ripped through the cables. The cables are hanging down. Okay, got the base and the fence set up. Now it's time for the main protagonist. And here is the T-Rex statue. Wow, look at it. Before we put it onto the base, we take a quick look onto its belly. And you can see the feet actually feature two pegs that will fit into the base, a square and a round one. And look at this, all these skin folds and wrinkles and creases and everything, especially on the neck, on the underside of the neck. Fantastic. Wow, all the way back to its tail. Let's fit the T-Rex onto its base. And then that's what we end up with. The entire diorama of the Tyrannosaurus Rex breaking through the fence and letting out a earth-shattering, deafening roar. That roar all glued us to our seats back in 1993 at the movie theater. I still remember that moment exactly like it was yesterday. Certainly something I will never forget for my entire life. So let's take a close look. Let's go in really close on this fantastic dinosaur. And while there was some controversy about the paint job on the head with all these little black dots and everything, I have to say I'm not a big fan of these spots either, but I look at the entire sculpt, at the entire diorama, at the entire dinosaur, and I have to say the spots really do not bother me as much, since the sculpt overall is really a one-to-one replica to what we have seen in the movie. It is the Stan Winston Studios T-Rex face that we all know and love so much. Take a look at the details, the glossy paint job inside the mouth, on the tongue, and on the sides, on the gums. Also excellent sculpting inside the upper jaw. Really no detail was left out. And the eyes are exactly one-to-one as we have seen them in the movie. Yellow black eyes, lovely black shading around the eyes. And these teeth are looking fantastic as well. They are exactly the right length and shape. Also we can see the nostrils and everything, and if we look at the figure from the top, we can see the striping pattern, really nice, that runs across its entire upper body. And what I especially like as well is the neck, the molding on the neck with all these wrinkles, creases, skin folds and everything. You can see the muscles. Same goes for the body. You can see the rib cage and everything. This is so fantastic. And wow, it really is absolutely stunning all the way back across its body, along the tail, which is nicely curved as well. Really each and every inch of this figure has been sculpted fantastically. I think I chipped off just a tiny little bit of the tail's end. It's hardly visible, fortunately. In general, you have to be really careful with this figure, especially when setting it onto the base or removing it, so that the tail does not touch any of the cables. The cables can scratch the model, so please take care whenever you are handling this statue. We did not finish our detailed tour yet. Let's look at the tiny little arm claws. These are painted as well, of course. Mattel, take note. Got black arm claws, and the arms are posed individually on each side. It's not simply just mirrored. It is fantastic. Same goes for the legs and feet. Take a look on the left foot especially, with the back part of its sole slightly raised up, and of course fits perfectly into the footprint that was left behind in the mud at the base. Also the right leg is bent very, very nicely. The T-Rex actually kneeling down as it lets out a huge roar, if we can literally hear right now when we look at this figure. This is a really heavy collectible at around 5 kilograms. The dinosaur is actually made out of polystone, and keep that in mind. Try not to move it very often and display it on a big stable surface. This is really, really heavy and delicate at the same time. In terms of size, what we have here is a 1/20 scale model. Let me give you the exact measurements real quick. I need to line this up properly here, and we've got 60 centimeters in length, that's around 23 inches, and from the base up to the hips and its back, it is around 18 centimeters, that's around 7 inches, so 23 by 7 inches. And that matches her up pretty well with some of the Mattel T-Rexes. You know, the mid-sized one, for example, the Epic Roaring T-Rex, or the Stomp and Escape T-Rex, which we looked at last week. And also, as a nice display option, I said if you have the T-Rex escape pack set here, this one here, if you have the Explorer, and I would say this also matches the Breakout T-Rex pretty well if you put this right next to each other, like it actually was in the movie, with the Explorer being turned upside down, of course, like this. And this is a fantastic display idea. And it actually matches up rather well in scale. It's not exactly the same, but it's good enough not to be horribly out of scale. It is really about more or less the same. So there's my diorama. Diorama with an N. That's how I exactly display my Breakout T-Rex together with the Explorer from the T-Rex escape pack by Mattel. And times are certainly exciting as a Jurassic Park fan, with so many collectibles on the market and still new toys being released. The Breakout T-Rex can still be found on eBay occasionally, and the original retail was around $750 if I remember correctly. So try not to pay much more for that, even though it is, of course, it is worth every single cent in my opinion, especially if you have the ability to set up a dinorama like I have it here. So I hope you found my little review of the Breakout T-Rex helpful in case you are still deciding on whether to hunt down this collectible. I would say it's definitely worth it if you are a Jurassic Park fan, and if you don't have the budget for the really big 5th scale T-Rex that I am so fortunate to own, this is a perfect alternative, and it is just as realistic. Now, thank you so much for watching this episode of Kitwana's Toys, and I'll see you next Saturday again. Goodbye.